Um, okay. So as I said, we're going to be talking about the future of the metaverse. I think it's pretty cool to hear from people like you because you two are always in these platforms and you're experiencing it. So, I don't want to hear from somebody from a corporation that has never gotten into these platforms and listening to
like
their
like the
take.
people that like the people that usually are speaking on panels at NFT conferences, you mean?
Exactly, man. I've listened to many of those, and it's very clear that they have no clue what they're talking about. They have,
Yeah.
I will. It's those kind of people that almost make you think they don't even know how to operate a computer. So it's kind of funny hearing from some people like that. So this time, we're gathering with the people that are actually experiencing this kind of new experience. So first thing that I thought would be cool, just as a icebreaker, it will be if you guys like maybe I don't know, maybe you Rustan can start with that. Uh when was the first time that we interacted like as two? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was May 13th at 9:23 a.m.
Oh, snap.
I don't know.
Roasting
It was
keeping
around that.
notes.
It was around that time, somewhere there. It was like when I bought my first world /R, and I was just messing around on it. I was just like throwing every asset I had and owned into it, and every GLB asset that I used in Decentraland, I was just like piling it all on, see how far I could push the limitations before it started to lag and stuff. And as I was doing that, you popped into my world and just started chatting with me, and like it was like we became pretty quick friends, and you offered to give me a tour of Hyperfy, and I was like super excited to do that. And you took me around all these amazing spots, and I saw a lot of VoxVN's early builds, and they completely blew my mind. And that was a really amazing meeting.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely pretty cool. I also remember that. I remember from time to time I was also super excited about the platform. I just found out about it like a month before you, and every time that I was seeing a new world popping up that I had never gone into, and there was somebody in there, I ran into that world and I started to talk to whoever was in there, and sometimes they reply back, and that was the case with you. Really, that was pretty cool, but. Rizzle, do you remember when was our first interaction? Because you
Dude,
might not.
no, I don't. I was like, oh my God, Roastan knows like the day and time, and I'm like, coming here with nothing. No, dude, I know we met via Toxam, and I've known Toxam since like very early metaverse NFT days and everything. And Toxam was like, yeah, Sinks is fam, he knows the deal. And I don't remember like exactly when that was, but I remember like just getting in conversation with you, and I'm like, all right, dude is one of us, like no doubt. Maybe we haven't like come crossed paths up until this point, but anyone who's in deep with Toxam and he sort of co-signs on, I know is legit people. So Sinks and I like hit it off right away, and I feel like we're like right in line with a lot of our general views on metaverse stuff and direction of the metaverse and everything, but these things are always fun. I love like sort of scratching a layer deeper, and this is like the type of stuff I love and could talk about like all day long. So when he hit me up and was like, hey, we're going to do this thing with Roastan, I was like, oh, awesome. An excuse to do what I was probably going to find some way to do anyway with someone else this afternoon. That sounds fantastic. So yeah, Sinks, I would love to hear how you recall anything.
Okay. So it's a very, very silly thing because it's like the first interaction, but not really like met. But we actually spoke, like messaged a little bit through Sent like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know if you remember the platform. It
Oh
was a very
shit! Yes, of course I
yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. For the people that don't know, which probably is almost nobody, because that platform, I don't think it's even around. I have no clue, but it was basically an idea of having a social network where your post. You could incentivize your post with Ethereum, and also people could like donate, they could comment to get the bounty for the post. And I don't know, there was a bunch of different mechanics around that just to try to foster and basically reward whoever had the comment that had the most like likes or something like that. So I remember, because I think you were one of the top dogs in there, and that I
Yeah.
remember chatting to you and asking you for tips on how were you managing to do so well on the platform and all
Oh
that. So
shit.
that was the first
Dude, now I
interaction.
got to go dig.
Okay. Um, let me now Rizal shoot
Wait, I
one
wanted
back
to
to
add
you.
something to that actually.
Okay.
Rizzle made me remember. So I was like throwing a bunch of crap into my Hyperfy, and I think it was it was the same day or like very close. Toxam and Kunai and Swissverse appeared out of nowhere, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Because like I almost never saw them in Decentraland, you know. And then I saw them like 3 days in a row in Hyperfy, and I was like, "Okay." And like for like 2 years in Decentraland, the community was trying to organize things to get really good devs to build in Decentraland, and I was like, okay, so they're all here. And I was like, oh, it's because Hyperfy is so freaking amazing. Like, why wouldn't a dev be in Hyperfy? You know, and you know that was like a huge epiphany for me.
And yeah, that's totally right. Like in the end, we're all humans, right? So whenever we see something that is exciting to us, we start jumping into it a lot. So that definitely happened with Hyperfight for all of us. Um, Guys, I have a very general questions to start talking about the metaverse, future of it, and all that. And it's something that I think about from time to time, because I have to explain what the metaverse is to a lot of people from time to time, and mostly people that have no clue about this, or they just think that they either think that it's virtual reality or Facebook. It's the usual thing. So, guys, there's no definition right now, I think, that is widely accepted to what the metaverse is. But what do you think the metaverse is? Rizzle, do you want to start?
Yes. Well, this is, I mean, yes, a very broad question because everyone I feel like slightly has a slightly different definition of it. And I don't know, when I think about the metaverse personally, my mind always goes to the Web3 metaverse, which I feel like is like, I don't know, maybe not like the final evolution of the metaverse, but I'm like all of these like, virtual platforms that like sort of enable you to have similar metaverse type experiences as you would in like Hyperfy and some of these other similar platforms and everything, like sort of I feel like misses the whole like big picture if there's no aspect of digital ownership and interoperability involved. And so this might be like my own pipe dream that this is where everything is headed, but I really believe that users have sort of been conditioned to not need or know about those things. But I really feel like the default position of most people who use things like this, they're going to want to own their own stuff as they come to that understanding that that is sort of the point of what we're all driving to with like digital ownership and everything. So for me, the definition of the metaverse always comes back to like digital ownership, and that being where this is all driving towards, and not as broad as some of the people who sort of use it as an all-encompassing term to sort of speak about virtual experiences or virtual gatherings and things like that. And it would be hard for me to say like VR chat or something like that is not part of the metaverse, because there's a lot of overlap in communities, and they're doing a lot of like really interesting, innovative things there, even though there's no like, at least to my knowledge at this point, any blockchain or NFT like component and everything. But I do believe that's where everything on the long-term continuum is heading. And what I'm hopeful for, because I feel like it really is empowering the users of the metaverse versus a lot of the people that, Sinks was alluding to earlier, who I feel like have sort of watched it from the sidelines and try to create experiences that allow them to, sort of suck money out of the metaverse ecosystem. And it's not even all bad, but I don't feel like I feel like it's an old model sort of overlaid on the new one right now.
Okay. That was a long one. I was actually I was expecting for some sort of like
Sorry, man.
2 sentences
think about
where
this a
you
lot.
say, "Hey, you don't know what the metaverse is? Let me tell you, it's this and this." Okay, Roustan,
I told you, man.
Sorry,
The dancing helps me think.
My answer is longer.
No, wait, guys, I have like, oh my god, I have more questions than
My
this.
answer is 45 minutes long. It's
Oh my
45
God.
minutes.
All
Let
right.
me try to. Okay, I'm going to answer that as if I was talking to a normie on the street corner who's like, "What are you doing right now for a living?"
Yeah,
I would just say, "Oh man, I'm living in the metaverse," and then they're like, "What the hell's that?" And then I say, "Well, it's a place of convenience. Everything is more convenient, and convenience wins out. I think, like we saw with Travis Scott's first virtual concert in I forget which platform it was,
Fortnite.
maybe Sandbox, Fortnite. Yeah, that's right, Fortnite. How well that went, and then like literally a year later, he had a concert that people died in, and now we're seeing, as of this past week, JRR Token's amazing Burning Man build in OnCyber or Spatial. I can't remember now. It was OnCyber. It was Spatial.
On
right?
cyber.
OnCyber. It was OnCyber. And now the people in Burning Man are flooded and stranded in the desert, and
Yeah.
and it's like those are not every time something bad happens in the real world, it's like, that doesn't happen in the metaverse. That can't happen
Yeah,
I
in
like
the
that.
metaverse.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely safer.
there's convenience. Like I can go to a live event in Los Angeles, but I have to go through 50 minutes of traffic and then find parking and pay for parking. Or like I own the Dead Mouse heads, NFT, which gave me a free ticket to his concert. And so I got to go to the concert in Los Angeles, and that was a royal pain in the ass. And I ended up, like, they got the times wrong. I thought it started at 7, but it started at 10, and then he didn't even go live until like 1 a.m. So I was standing there like bumping shoulders against this packed house all night long, tired AF, and then I had to drive home after all. I was like, man, this is like his performance in Decentraland was way better than this live performance, and I just stayed home in my underwear, So it's like the convenience
Yeah.
to me is like humans are just going to be like, oh, this is way easier and just as fun or more fun, and I also see an AR component in the future where like you'll be able to take your assets and utilize them on your simplified headsets or like digital chips that are put in your brain so you can see your assets in your real life world, like it's just going to become so common. And I don't know. I think everything we see now is just kind of a stepping stone to what it's going to become.
Interesting.
Well,
I didn't have this question prepared, but Roustan, do you often metaverse in your underwear?
No, I don't. Just complete commando.
Okay,
Completely naked.
That's even better.
Swinging knees. No, I'm always dressed.
Okay.
Allegedly.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
All right. Next one, guys. What do you think the metaverse enables you to do that the physical world doesn't? Either Rizzle or Roustan, can you think of something?
I'll keep it briefer this time. I actually really like Roustan's response to the previous question because I'm definitely someone who just doesn't have time and I don't live near the city anymore. So I'm not really like in proximity to like go socialize. I have like 2 kids. They have stuff going on when they get home from school. And so to be able to like participate in something like this with a whole bunch of people who I know have it actually feel like a social experience versus like, I don't know, it just feels so different than a Zoom call or anything like that. And so the convenience factor is huge for me personally, and definitely like one of the reasons why I love it so much, just to be able to have social experiences with friends, but that are also like constantly changing and have new wrinkles in them and that kind of thing.
Okay, I see where you
Yeah.
guys are going. So it's one thing that
I
you
don't think
guys
I
value
answered
a
the
lot.
question. I just wanted to co-sign on Roustan.
No. It's like
Yeah.
wanting to
For
be
me,
closer to people, right? Without, those hurdles. Yeah, I see.
yeah. For me, it's just like, what can't you do in the metaverse? Like actually the same day I went to that Dead Mouse concert, I told you they got the times wrong. So I had 3 hours to kill before I was led into the venue. And I knew that there was this Blockbuster video bar pop-up locally, like within a mile of where I had parked. So I took my wife and we walked to this Blockbuster thing. And they tried to like charge us, well they did. They charged us $20 to get in to this bar with this, like weak ass replica of Blockbuster Video. and I was just like, man, if I did this, I would have did this so much better. And
And you did.
and I was like, this is a joke. This is just like a money grab. Like whoever produced this was just trying to capitalize off nostalgia, And like meanwhile, I built Blockbuster Video in Hyperfy, and it's free to get in, and it legitimately gives you nostalgic feelings.
Yeah, it does. I love that spot.
I recreated it like from the best of my memories, and I even went in and did all this research on old videos, and like every part of it I spent like a very long time meticulously putting together, because I really value nostalgia, and knowing that you can pop on a VR headset and go explore it, to me, which I haven't done yet because I don't have one, but that to me is just huge. And you can do it from anywhere in the world. It's not just in Los Angeles, like it's amazing.
Definitely. Yeah. It brings us closer. Like we wouldn't be all together right now here if it wasn't for platforms that allows us to do this, right? Like we're, at least you two are in the US, but I'm not. I'm in Europe, so we are naturally separated already. But I don't know, like I speak with you guys and I meet with you guys and I see your avatars way more than I see most of the people that I know that are also in the same country. I mean, so
True.
yeah.
True.
Okay. I have got a question that I'm interested, because I have no clue about what you guys will say. So I'm interested to know what was your first experience or first steps into a metaverse platform for you guys? And yeah, open-ended really.
Go ahead, Roustan. You take it.
Yeah, for me, it was a gallery in Decentraland. I was invited to show my art in a gallery, and that's something that I've been doing in real life. Well, I've stopped since, but I did that for over 10 years, selling my artwork in galleries, and I just had so many, like, it just blew my mind. Like, I saw the potential so clearly the moment I stepped in. One collector started asking me questions. I responded to the questions and realized that everybody could read my answers, so I didn't have to answer the same question 100 times in one night. Everybody got it that first time. And then just the displays and the cost, like the way that the artwork was displayed in the metaverse would cost $10,000s of dollars, in real life. And I was like, that's huge. And then I don't have to pay a 50% commission to the gallery, and I don't have to deal with all these headaches. Like, again, the convenience factor was just over the top, and so that was my first experience, before I even saw so many other benefits of like the community and everything. And it's amazing.
Yeah, dude, I remember, and since you probably remember this from like early cent days, man, when CryptoVoxels was like just starting to be a thing, and they started their like land sales and everything. And I remember just sort of walking around this barren wasteland of CryptoVoxels with Josie, now from Cyberbrokers, and DeFi Dad, and Jim McNillis, and Easing Crypto, and just sort of like pondering like what could become of this place. And that was before like Origin City sprung up in CryptoVoxels, which was sort of like the metaverse community hub for a little while there when nothing else was really cooking and everything. So I sort of like bought in, not not ETH wise, but mentally, like hook, line, and sinker early on with just seeing the expansion of NFTs and the overlap with the metaverse and everything. So saw crypto voxels coming up like really early on, and then the installation. I think Connie Digital was the first person I saw who did like an art gallery like in one of these spaces, and NFTs were starting to come up at the same time, and I was just like, oh, this is such like a cool combination of all of these things sort of like converging right here. So yeah, man, those are like really fun times. Yeah, I mean, it still is. It's crazy to see us in here now. Like, I mean, it felt like, if I think back on those times, it feels like the Stone Ages, right? I mean, crypto voxels, like, you know, sort of inherently looks old school, but I'm like, you know, looking at us all now and like, you know, interoperable Vipes with this like drag and drop stuff and Hyperfy, and, you know, Syncs is like, hey, we can go anywhere we want after this. We'll just drop a portal. I'm like, you know, we've come a long way in a few years.
Yeah, definitely. I remember that. Yeah, crypto voxels. I remember me being a little bit clueless about what was happening, but I was trying to join the events that were happening. But yeah, it was still, yeah, I was feeling lost in there, and I couldn't exactly get the full extent of what could be done in there. So now with these newer platforms that we're experiencing lately, I think we're closer to something that feels way more immersive, at least for me. Yeah. Um. Okay, I want to get already into the topic, and one topic that I want to open right now is uh first, it's hard to say which platforms are metaverse or which ones are not, because people have different opinions. So one division that I usually do is basically open metaverse platforms versus centralized platforms. So I want to just get your general opinion on both of them. Which ones do you think are centralized versus open, and that do you think they are going to coexist? Do you think one is going to win over the other? Do you see benefits in both of them at the same time, or are you 100% behind only one of them?
I think I see a lot of problems in the Decentraland DAO. Just a lot of problems, self-inflicted roadblocks. So I'm not 100% on board with decentralized. I think there's some value to having some sort of centralization, but I don't think about that stuff too much. But what I do think is going to happen are NFTs are going to just become a thing of normalcy, and people that are not even into crypto or Web3 are going to use it often. And I think they're going to be a part of, you know, a future metaverse. And when I say a metaverse, I mean multiple platforms included in it. I think it's just going to be the way it is, and some are going to be like decentralized, and some are going to be undecentralized, and you know, that's what I think.
Yeah, I think there are layers to it as well, because there are some, and I'm not up enough on like the inner workings of a lot of these platforms to really be able to speak on like exactly how centralized some of them are, but I feel like, you know, depending on who centralizes you, you know, essentially who invests in your platform, I feel like there are layers of like red tape, and you got some people who invest in these platforms who are very creator centric, and, you know, will within, you know, some restraints let platforms do their thing and build in the direction that they feel is best. And then, you know, there's the other side of the coin where you know, there's a lot of red tape sort of guiding the platforms and the direction of them that doesn't necessarily like, you know, speak to the user base. So I don't, it's tough. I don't really think there is like a right way. And in a lot of ways, I think there's room for all sides of it, because I feel like, you know, there are normies and corporations coming in from the outside, and they want something centralized that is easy to understand and interact with on, you know, a business level that they're like comfortable with and everything. But for me personally, I just always gravitate towards like the projects and platforms that have more of like an indie like vibe to it, which to me, Hyperfy really has that. I feel like it's a little rough sometimes around the edges, but I like how they like move quick and ship cool updates and everything. Crypto voxels I've always been a fan of, and I feel like I don't know, maybe I've just been stuck on the outside, but I feel like they're sort of stuck in the mud or haven't like produced any like really substantial, interesting updates in a while. But I also like how they have shunned VC money for years now with the determination to just do their own thing and build this in the direction that they want to. And I like that general like attitude. It's like attracts me to those platforms that, you know, I know that even if I don't necessarily agree with what they're doing, I like that they're not influenced by, you know, some sort of corporate entity that really doesn't understand what's going on here.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, yeah. I would like to add that in the end, centralization or decentralization is not really either one or the other 100%. It's more of a spectrum, really. Like nothing is 100% centralized or decentralized, right? So, yeah, even among the platforms that we might consider open, there's definitely some that we can think that are more centralized and some that are more open. So, yeah, it's not like a rough
Yeah, I mean,
category.
I think
I agree.
just in the history of everything in life that, you know, the big brands are what's going to draw the attention, and either the little independent is going to get bought out by them and become bigger the same way that Instagram was, you know, or there's just going to exist the niche of the independent platforms that can coexist with the big brands, you know. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be all about coexisting.
Yeah,
There'll be room for everybody.
I think so too.
Okay.
There's so many different audiences coming into the space that are looking for different things out of these types of experiences that I think there's a wide spectrum as well that'll stick around.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure, like the most sought after platform will be ultra hyper realistic, you know, like Unreal Engine style, whenever that's possible in like WebGL. But I think most normies are going to be drawn to something like that. That's just like super pristine, perfect ultra realism, you know?
Well, dude, I'll play the other side of the fence, man, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I feel like the space is going to move rapidly in also the opposite direction in terms of like mobile accessibility, because I feel like just in terms of like the population of the world getting their hands on smartphones and the technology getting to the point where it functions pretty well on smartphones, I feel like there's going to be a large contingency of people who don't have access to that type of tech for a long time, but will want to get their hands dirty and get involved. And so I think we're going to see like a mobile explosion at some point down the line.
Yeah.
As well.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be really short-lived though, because I think the headsets are going to take off very quickly. And then I think mobile's just going to be so basic at that point. Like one of the things that I see when I go out in the real world, everything I look at just feels so obsolete, and I see people sitting there swiping on the phones, and they judge me for what I do. Like, right, like you do what? You work, you make living in the metaverse? What are you talking about? That's weird. I'm like, yeah, but you're sitting there swiping on your phone, pressing a like button on a photo. You know, like who's crazier? But like the way that the Apple headset was presented to me was so blatantly obvious that it was easing into this new industry of headsets in as simple way as possible that a normie could understand. And it literally was like, you guys saw Ready Player Me. This is what we're making. This is what you can expect. But like we all in here know that it goes way beyond that. Like it's going to be bigger than that. Like we see beyond what was presented. But that's too far to present to a normie, you know? And so I think, yeah, like we're going to see mobile be a step in the adoption, but then as soon as like headsets become normal, mobile's gonna be like that scene in Back to the Future where the kids are like Marty McFly is showing them the arcade game with the gun, and they're like, you have to use your hands. It's like a baby's toy.
Dude, I mean, I agree with you to some extent, man, that the market is only going to increase and probably significantly, but I can't be bullish on headsets, man, because I have a headset, but I keep coming back to the situation where, like, you know, I got two kids. I got a family, and if I put on my headset, like I'm essentially locked out of everything that's going on. Whereas I can like hop into something passively on a different device in a way that, you know, I can listen, participate, but not necessarily take my, and I guess I'm saying that to say, I think there's like a lot of people in my situation as well, where it's just cost prohibitive to get 4 headsets,
Yeah,
you know,
now
for
it is.
everyone in the family and, you know, all this stuff. So, you know,
But that's
I
what I
think,
mean. That's what I mean about the AR capabilities. Like
yeah,
first of all, it's not going to be a headset, right? In the future, it might be glasses,
yes,
but at some point, it's going to be a chip that you inject into your body, and everybody's going to do that. People try to say they're going to resist, but I think it's going to start with
no,
the
I
health
think so too,
industry
man.
as far as like fixing your back. You want to get rid of your back pain?
Yep.
Just put this little chip in your body. It's smaller than a piece of rice, and it'll be gone, just like that. You can even improve your body with. And it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, look at like how much money people blow on the health industry just to feel better. They put stupid drugs in their body. They're gonna do this, and then these chips are gonna be able to create AR views in your eyes, you know, and you're gonna be able to see virtual reality, augmented reality without a headset, which is gonna be amazing. But that's who knows how far down the road that is, 10, 15 years maybe. But it's going to be these baby steps, you know,
Yeah.
starting with mobile, then headsets, but it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen so fast, and mobile is going to become so obsolete. We're not even going to need phones in the future. It's going to be crazy.
And then
Dude, I'm
that
with you.
line
I think
from
you're on a
Back from the
longer,
Future is gonna happen, right?
Right, exactly.
dude, I'm with you, man. I think you're on a longer continuum than I am, but I think we end there, or not end, but get there.
I mean, it's to me, it's inevitable. It's gonna it's just the way. And again, it all stems down to convenience. If it's convenient, if it's more convenient, it's gonna win. You know, there's no fighting that.
I'm
Okay.
not fighting it, man.
Rustan, you just killed my next question because my next question was around if you see a world where most of the population uses to some degree uh, a metaverse platform, and I kind of think that you are saying yes to that.
Yeah, I think most of the first world at least, right? We were talking about some
Yeah,
people that are unable. I mean, there's countries that don't have phones at all or computers, you know. They're probably happier human beings.
probably. Yeah, but we cannot go back to that ourselves. Rizzle, do you agree with that? Do you see a world where most of the population uses the metaverse to some extent?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think we're all like sort of slowly driving in that direction and have been for a while. I mean, you just see how like, you know, even going back to like early internet days, I feel like that has just sort of continuously evolved in layers of like people finding ways to have shared experiences and everything. And, you know, gaming online, it was like a huge like sort of cultural shift in that direction. And I feel like this is sort of, you know, an evolution on top of that where, you know, we're not only in a singular game, but can do that within the context of like a larger framework. Yeah, I feel like it's sort of, hopefully not in a dystopian way, but becomes sort of like, you know, this situation, this sort of access point to experiences, to people, to opportunities. And it just, going back to what the point Rostan's been sort of banging home in terms of convenience, it's like, you know, given the option of having to, I mean, just think about how people used to apply for jobs, like, you know, 20 years ago versus now. And I think the metaverse is inherently going to streamline a lot of experiences that people no longer need to leave their homes for if they don't want to. And I'm one of those people who likes those things. And I think there are a lot of other people who are with me.
Yeah, and we see it today. Like it already exists today. If you consider smartphones and certain elements of Web 2 as a modern day metaverse, you can't drive down the street and not see another driver using their phone, looking at their phone, you know. I go to the beach and half the people are looking at their phones. Some have their backs towards the ocean doing a selfie, you know. It's like people are choosing to look at their phone over the amazing real life view that's right in front of them. You know, like it's happening. It's happening already.
Okay, guys, I have a big one that I've been thinking about lately a lot, and I think it's very important to, of course, the industry that we're talking about. Which, um, what do you think could be a spark that ignites the adoption of the metaverse? Can you think of any?
I'm thinking it's going to be Meta or Google that are going to put something out that will take off. Either
Google.
that or they're
Okay.
going to buy a company that is killing it, you know? That's what I think currently.
That sounds more like a strategy that a corporation takes.
Dude, I think maybe we're in it, like the very beginnings of it right now. And I was just talking about this with Matt, my buddy I produced the Whip and my podcast with and everything. And I'm like, I don't remember, having been in this space, we've been pulling off these weekly meetups for, 4 years now almost. And on top of like a billion other events that I've done in like various platforms and everything. And I really don't remember a time where there was like such a creative explosion and so many tools put in the hands of builders to be able to easily create things that they want to. And I feel like part of the, and I watch my kid play Minecraft, right? And it's just so intuitive to like do something in there to build something incredible with. He's like, going on 11 years old and can like fly around this place and like, build these incredible things. And I feel like, finally we're starting to see some of that unlocked across the Web3 metaverse. And then, some of these, Web 2 metaverse platforms or whatever you want to call them are almost just like self-sustaining because they have given tools to creators to sustain the platforms on their own. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure they have marketing budgets and a corporation and everything behind it, but for a large part of it, if the product sucked, the community isn't going to care or drive it. And I feel like we're finally getting to the point where that's happening. I also feel like there's another side of the coin where that Roustan is talking about, where some bigger corporation comes up with some clever way to integrate NFTs in a way that people don't even realize it's happening, and that just sort of opens the floodgates from there. So,
Yeah.
It's hard to say. It's interesting times though, for sure.
Like I think everything that we individuals here on Hyperfy especially are collectively experiencing are it's a real small niche, in the grand scheme of things. I mean, they say like 1% of the human population uses crypto supposedly, and like what percent of that percentage is on Hyperfy or Decentraland or Sandbox or whatever. It's like so small in
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things. But like I definitely see a big brand connecting the mainstream in a seamless way that they don't even realize. Like people don't even know
Yeah.
they're using NFTs at Starbucks right now when you do the frequent user card or whatever on the app. Those are all NFTs, and like nobody knows that except me. When I walk in, I joke about it, and then you got somebody hating on NFTs, and it's like, man, you're drinking a Starbucks coffee, dude. NFT drinker. Like it's gonna happen seamlessly, and I think it's gonna be across the board, and it's gonna be like, I mean, just imagine it like Disney World or Disneyland, and they have, they're gonna have their headset virtual setups, and you're gonna be able to do cool things with their app that uses NFTs and the ownership of the NFTs that you collected and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like all that stuff. They're not even going to say the word NFT or metaverse or AR. It'll probably say AR, right? But like I saw that Super Mario World just unveiled at Universal Studios here in California. And they have these tasks that you do, almost like metaverse quests. You have to go and scan these things and collect these things, and I don't know if they use NFTs or not, but they should for sure. They might, for all I know. But like that's one of the pathways that I think are going to ignite the future metaverse.
Okay. Rizzle?
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing that I keep coming back to on that is a counterpoint, man. And I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. I feel like inherently, if you're a Disney or one of these mega corporations, and I'm interested to see how it plays out with Starbucks, because knowing how a lot of these corporations get down, they're developing a lot of resources to this test thing, and I wonder, like, number one, do people care enough about NFTs in their audience to continue these types of experiments? And then also, I'm like, if I'm a Disney or a Starbucks and I really know how NFTs work, like, what is the value prop for me there versus creating a closed ecosystem of their own, digital token that only works within their marketplace, like we've seen people do a million times. And I feel like the culture, like, really has to shift in a direction that puts pressure on some of these corporations to give up, like, sole ownership of these closed ecosystems that a lot of them have, like, successfully created over the years.
Yeah, for me, it's again, convenience. Like this party that we're having tomorrow in Hyperfy with a kid called Beast. If you go and you do the quest, you can collect this NFT asset, a GLB file that you can use on your Beasts or whatever you want to use it on, And it didn't cost me anything to make that. Whereas if I did something like a T-shirt, it would cost me production cost to make a T-shirt and also shipping, right? So it's just like one basic example of like how you save money with digital assets. There's a lot in the cost. You still have to have an artist create these things and pay that artist, but either way you save on production costs. For me as an artist in the gallery, I don't have to pay a framer. I don't have to store the art. I don't have to pay for shipping anymore. I just sell an NFT and sell the art, and bam, it goes direct from me to the consumer. And I get to keep most of my profits that used to go to middlemen, which is amazing. It's mind blowing. So, but I think what we see in the
Disney make you sell it for Disney coin, and you can't use that digital asset for Disney coin, or you know what I'm saying? Like, they keep it bottled up.
We kind of see it with Vivi a little bit, right? Like Vivi is kind of like a gated community as far as like your assets go. Like I have like the DeLorean and I have like the Knight Rider car, but I can't use the assets for anything except for AR on their app on my phone. And they're promising letting you use certain items in the future. Like I want to bring those items into Hyperfy, and right now I can't, So It's like, but also like a lot of the stuff we're hearing in the media as far as like Meta's giving up on the metaverse or whatever. Like I think last week they said Meta finally grew its legs. Like a lot of this stuff is based on just the financial situations, the current markets and stuff, and their shareholders and stuff. But they're presenting it as if Meta is bailing by having layoffs and stuff on the metaverse, but they're not. They're still investing a lot of money. They're investing a lot less, and we're not seeing the news about what's actually going into it. But like 2 years ago, Mark Zuckerberg said the earliest we're really going to see the true metaverse is like 2025. Like we're not at 2025 yet. So how can like the media be saying that like the metaverse is dead when we haven't even reached his expected earliest date? You know what I mean? So it's like we have to be careful. I think even in the worst of the bear market, we've seen a lot of brands investing in Polygon and like doing all sorts of things, which tells me that they're aware, they see the potential, they're paying attention, but at the same time, they have to still proceed with caution for their shareholders.
Okay, guys, that was a long one. Yeah, I should have known that maybe with like 5 questions, it was way more than enough for you two. Well, maybe just one and not saying anything will also work. We said that we were going to do some world hopping, and so far we've been at the same place dancing in a circle for like 45 minutes. So I just dropped a portal in here to the world that Roustan was referring to, that he's gonna host a party for tomorrow. So maybe we can jump to that one. And while we do that, well, also Roustan and Rizzle, remember to turn on your microphones on the next world. And next one that I want to ask you guys is just name a business model that it's happening currently in 2D, but could jump easily into 3D and leverage the metaverse. And I'll give you an example. One thing that also I think could spark the adoption of the metaverse, it's a big company, big product like Discord or Twitch or YouTube, offering an optional way to experience their videos, their streams, or their goals, like the one that we're in here, but on 3D,
Yeah.
right? Something like that. I think that will be really cool, and I hope it happens.
Yeah, that's a tough one. My mind is. I know. I know as far as Web 2 goes, like stuff that, I've tried everything with my YouTube channel, which is pretty successful so far. I've had brands reach out and try promotions and things like that, and I've found things that do and don't work. So now I'm like pretty selective on anything like that. I usually just promote myself over promoting a brand. But basically, what I've found is food is the easiest thing to promote. Like if you have someone on screen eating KFC chicken, then all of a sudden immediately you kind of want to have chicken, you know?
Right,
So
yeah.
I feel like food brands can really capitalize on that stuff to the point where like order your food right in the metaverse, like you just like have the right kind of display, and nobody's figured that out yet as far as restaurant brands goes. They just rebuild their restaurants in the metaverse, and it's like, okay, great, there's the pizza, I can't do anything with it. But like if you really figure it out with the right idea, like you're gonna make a lot of money doing it that way, especially when the metaverse is really fully onboarded.
Yeah, I feel like one thing that I continuously see people having like a hard time delivering is like places that are set up for repeatable experiences. And so my mind with that kind of thing, my mind always goes to the overlap of like gaming in the metaverse and I, it's sort of overlapping the previous like question in terms of like, some of these, big gaming environments and platforms sort of have their own like closed loops and ecosystems and everything. But I would love to see some of them, migrate into Web3. There was that like cool overlay like a couple of years ago, I think now, like NFT Worlds that was like essentially built on top of Minecraft. And I feel like, something along those lines would just really open the floodgates because it's, I want to get in this car. Something that people are already familiar with. It's just a slightly different experience than, they're used to. I was thinking of like Web3 projects. That I took the question too literally, like, and I was like, oh my God, Avagachi is like a 2D Web3
Oh yeah.
metaverse project. That's
No,
like
you're
so
right. You're right.
cool.
You're
They're
totally
like,
right.
yeah, they're taking some
Gaming
stabs.
toys, that's like so easy, it's insane. Like Funko Pops. I know they picked like the wax blockchain, but goddamn, man, Funko Pops are asking to be avatars, easily
Yeah,
purchasable as NFTs and
Yeah,
utilized through various platforms. Like it's so easy, it's crazy.
they should ask
And I
us
know
to
they're
make
working
that.
on it. Well, I know someone who works at Funko Pop, and their job is to try to figure this out, and they're doing the best they can. I don't know why they went with the wax blockchain, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if they need VRMs, we have somebody that we know. Okay. Um. Okay. This should be a quick question, even for you guys. Given that you spend time on metaverse platform a lot, usually, would you say you recognize people by their avatar instead of their nickname?
say it again,
Depends on the
Sinks.
person, right? Depends on the person.
Yeah, if you often spend time on metaverse platforms, would you say you recognize people by their avatar instead of their name?
Oh,
Or you
yeah, it
don't?
depends on. I feel like a lot of people sort of stick with a go-to avatar or two, and I could pick them out of a crowd at this point from like 10 metaverse miles away. So I think some people like are extremely recognizable and have like recognizable avatars. But otherwise, I feel like there's like a core contingency that when I'm at things, I feel like I just see a lot of these people all over the place, and they might be in different things. I feel like Ballistic Banana is like, he's here right now, constantly switching up the avatars, but I always know Ballistic Banana when I see his handle and everything. So it's a mix.
All
Yeah,
right.
totally.
All right. And what is your favorite kind of thing that is happening lately in the metaverse? Can you think of something?
Hyperfy.
I knew it.
It's hard not to like.
I mean, it's just so freaking easy. To me, it's just the way it's right now. To me, Hyperfy is the blueprint that all other platforms should be following. Easy to join. You don't need to sign up for a newsletter. You don't need to connect your wallet. You don't need a huge freaking tutorial. You don't need to create an avatar. And then as far as building, like I was talking to Ash about this a little bit, I think he should create a test world that people can experiment with building on if they don't own a world yet. Because to me, the building part of it is like mind-blowingly good. Like I bought my first Hyperfy world because I heard a little bit about it from Morph and Lastrum in Decentraland, and I bought it. I snatched one up, and I actually sat on it for like 5 days until I built. And then I had some free time, and I was like, what am I going to do with my free time? I'm just going to go mess around with Hyperfy. And I just started, and like literally within 5 minutes, I was like, holy shit, this is insanely good. And I think a lot of people don't get to experience that because they don't own the world yet. And I try to tell people, like, just buy the world in 5 minutes, or you can use like my spare world, just spend 5 minutes building stuff, and you'll want one.
Yeah. I feel like Hyperfy has just been a huge unlock, and they're like, on Cyber is like sort of following suit on a lot of the updates that Hyperfy has made, but hosting an event in our WIP parcel in Hyperfy and running out of cars because people crash them, and being able to like drop half a dozen cars in there in real time, and then a portal. It's just it makes everything so easy and so fun. And then I keep bringing up my kid, but it's hard to not like think of him in this context because he's exploring some of similar platforms and everything. But I got him messing around with Hyperfy, and if I load him up with a folder full of GLBs, it's intuitive enough that he can understand how to use it. And that's a bridge that hasn't really been crossed by anything yet, like within the context of the stuff that I'm normally work on. And I'm like, oh shit, here's some stuff that he can actually like understand and play around with and everything. And that's like very exciting to me.
Yeah. And a little alpha, I know Ash is working on the shape builders, so you can build like you would in Minecraft.
Oh my God.
Roblox,
Yeah.
and my daughter likes Hyperfy, but she doesn't like dragging other people's created assets. She wants to be able to build herself, and so I was like, that to me is a huge game changer. And,
oh my God.
Yeah, and so it's like you get the kids on board, like that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part. Because they're the next users, like the next real Web3 users, and they're gonna appreciate owning the assets more than anybody for sure.
Dude, 100%, and they get it like sort of intuitively. I'm like, what's the difference between what I do and what you're doing right now? Hey man, you could sell that sword to your buddy. He gets it.
And they're doing that. In Roblox. My daughter's like constantly bragging about how she made a crazy sale in Roblox, but it's all like not real money,
Right.
And it's like, imagine if that was real money, though.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And that's happening now, but you're not doing it because like all your friends are not doing it. But like, it's just crazy, the potential. Like my kids are legitimately asking me, what job should I get? They're 14 and 13. What should my first job be? And like, I can't answer that honestly. It's like, I mean, you could work at McDonald's and get minimum wage, or you could be a Uber driver or a DoorDash delivery driver, right? Or you can create your own asset in in Web3 and make 10 times more money than you would doing either of those jobs,
Yep. 100%.
Damn. Okay. Okay, next one, guys. Can you think and talk about a good personal connection that you've done in a metaverse platform, and you started it in a metaverse platform as well? And you cannot say me, of course.
A good personal connection someone I met.
Yeah, a good personal connection you've done, and it easily started.
And I've connected to so many people. Like it's just like a long list of people, like everybody.
Hundreds of people.
Everybody. Vipe Ash from Hyperfy, Tangpoko, the Baby Dolls, Decentraland, Cromulon, Peanut Butter, like the list just goes on and on. People that I've met. Amazing DJs, CJ Trax, DJ Gucci Toast, Stony Eye, Cat 5.
Now the people that you cannot think of are gonna be mad at you.
I know, like, just set me up to get harassed.
What
Dude,
about
I'm
you?
in a similar boat, man. Matt and I were just going through the list of guests we've had at the WHIP over the years, and it's
Yeah.
like it's somewhere above 450 people or something. And I, just so entrenched that like most of my best connections and relationships are people that I've come across in the metaverse in some capacity or another, like over the years. I do have a cool, like, quick story though. I bought this guy whose handle was named Bitcoin. I bought some of his very early AI artwork, like over 4 years ago for pennies, just because I thought it was cool. And it was ended up being some of the first AI artwork that was tokenized, and I just happened to randomly run into him in crypto voxels one day, and he recognized, I'm saying he, it could be anybody, recognized my handle and was like, yo, you're Rizzle, you're the one who first bought my artwork, and then after you did,
That's
Coldy
amazing.
bought it, and like a bunch of other
Wow.
people like piled on and everything, and I was like, whoa, this is like such a cool like random connection to make in the metaverse several years later, and they remembered my handle. I knew exactly what they were talking about, right off the bat. So that was like a really cool, like unique encounter.
Yeah, the organic nature of it all is just so wonderful. Like I built Blockbuster, and then I was in the Hyperfy Discord, or Ash. I think Ash joined the Blockbuster and was hanging out with me. And I was like, yeah, I built this. I just, like there's a lot of things I don't know how to do as far as coding. This was before some of the apps. And I was like, I want to make a quest, but I don't want to code anything because I don't know how to code. So I want to give it up to whoever wants to do it. And then he was like, I'll do it. So Ash hopped in and helped me code a quest. And then I was like, it'd be cool to have like an avatar as the prize. And then Toxam jumped into the conversation. And so Toxam created a Blockbuster Video avatar that will be the prize for the quest. And it's like, talk about like major connections there, Ash and Toxam. And here is just little old me coming into Hyperfy building Blockbuster, and like they didn't know much about me beforehand, and they were like happy to jump in. It was just that like awesome organic thing that I love more than anything, and that, by the way, that quest will be, we've been waiting to put that quest out since like March something, and that should be live hopefully in the next month. I've been saying that every month, but it should really be.
Then it's always next month. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, but we're actually right now we're waiting on Vibe to release the Creator Hub. So
Okay, awesome.
that's it.
All right, that's very good to hear. And definitely, if somebody in here that is listening hasn't gotten into the Blockbuster version of Hyperfy, well, no, wait, that's the other way around. The Hyperfy version of Blockbuster, definitely do that because it's very, very, very cool. And even I've been in Blockbuster when I was little. I remember I was mainly going there to rent out games instead of movies. I don't know if that was also another thing that was offered everywhere else in the planet, but yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Okay. So I remember when I was very, very little going to Blockbuster to get a game for a day or two, and that was pretty cool stuff. Okay, guys, can we name between the three of us what metaverse platforms have you tried yourselves?
Oh man,
all of them, I think.
Yeah,
I haven't done VR chat because it's not on Mac.
Okay.
But
okay, we have one.
We have one. I'll try. I think I'm gonna have to jump after this one,
For sure,
guys. But this has been awesome. I'm trying to think. I think I've managed to at least dabble in. I was doing what Sinks was doing for a long time and seeing things going on in places and just hopping in and checking it out. And I've come across some ones that I've only been in once and haven't been in since. But I feel like, especially all of the major Web3 metaverse platforms, I don't know, I feel like sort of obligated to stay informed just because this is what I love to do and, tinker around and check them out and everything. So I don't know. I feel like I'm like reasonably well versed, but if we come up with some that I haven't come across, then I definitely want to know. And also, before I jump, yo, happy birthday, Roustan. It's awesome of you to be
Thank
hanging
you.
out here bullshitting with us
Wait,
on your
what?
birthday. Thank you.
Roustan, what?
I spent the morning taking it easy, and I was just laying in bed for like 3 hours watching people get arrested on YouTube. It's
That's what's
actually a
up.
pretty awesome way to spend your birthday morning.
Damn,
Yeah, that's great.
happy birthday, man. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, can we do something in the metaverse for you?
We need a virtual cake that transforms into a real cake that I can stuff my face with.
Okay.
Yes, next year.
Awesome. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, we're at the hour right now, and I know Rizzle, you need to go. So both of you guys, like, thank you so much for meeting up with me and a bunch of very cool people that followed us through the metaverse and here in Hyperfy and also on Discord. It was pretty cool. We went through almost everything that I wanted to cover, so that's been nice. That's been nice. And I don't know, like, if you guys are down for any other talks from time to time, that will be super amazing. Of course, I'm not asking you for anything where you need to be here like weekly or anything like that. Nothing at all. But from time to time, it will be cool to meet up. And if not, I know that we're gonna meet in one of these platforms because from time to time we come across each other.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, anytime.
Just yell Rizzle into the metaverse a few times, man, and I'll come chat. I love doing this.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, and thank you everybody for coming in. It's been pretty cool, and I think we got some really good answers of what the future of the metaverse could look like. It's been pretty nice.
Definitely.
Yeah,
It's an awesome combo.
Awesome.
Well, this is great, Sinks. Thanks for hosting, man. This is awesome.